Katang is not one-sided. Prologue. Guys, so I always try and remain respectful of Zutara shippers because everyone can ship who they want, I really don't care. But I hear this a lot and it makes me heated. The argument that Katang is one-sided is just completely blinded by your love for Zutara. First of all, it degrades both Aang and Katara as characters, pretty much saying that Aang was only just the hero of the story and his main point was to win, and that Katara's main reason is just to be the main hero's love interest, when that is not true. Saying that Katang is one-sided is a perfect example of completely ignoring nuanced canon narrative to support your own made-up narrative. The creators of this show are not stupid. They planned Katang from the start. Buckle your seatbelts, guys. This is gonna be a ride. Katang is not one-sided, prologue part 2. So before I start showing you all of the moments where Katara shows physical affection towards Aang that is clearly romantic, let me talk about a couple things real quick. One of the best things about this show is how human the characters feel. They are written so human-like that many of us feel connected with these characters because we feel like we could know them in real life. Newsflash, in real life, people fall in love differently. Aang had a 12-year-old kid crush on a girl the moment he saw her because she was pretty, and that grew into a deep love for her over the series. Katara didn't see Aang as a love interest at first, but it grew for her over time. She literally said it in her letter to Tenzin, which, by the way, this has been confirmed canon, that she saw him as a little kid at first, and as he grew and matured over their trip, she started to realize that he was more than that. The characters are human, they are different, that's how it works, guys. Katang is not one-sided, prologue part 3, I guess. I already know Zutara shippers are gonna come for me when I start talking about the moment, so I thought I'd put this out now, before I get started. People try to say that every time Katara shows Aang any type of affection, it's because she looks at him like her brother or her son because she's motherly, and first of all, ew. Katara is motherly. She is that way with everyone. And no, she never really was that way with Zuko because he was in like 0.5% of the show and she wasn't motherly with anyone while he was a part of the team. And she doesn't see him as a brother because, first of all, we see her interact with Sokka in every single episode. And guess what she never does with him? Anything like this? She treats Aang completely different than she treats Sokka, ever. So no, this is not her looking at him like he's a brother. This is romantic. Okay, now I'm gonna start talking about the moments, I swear. Katang is not one-sided. Part 1, the fortune teller. Yes, I know Katara friend zones Aang in this episode, but bear with me. This episode actually revolves around their relationship as a whole. It's the main plot of the episode. I've said it before, but the creators are not stupid. They meant this. This is Katara's face after Sokka says that Aang is a powerful bender. Now, if you remember, Aunt Wu just told her that she was going to marry a powerful bender. This is not the face that she would make if she was like, oh, I guess I have to marry Aang. She doesn't brush it off. She doesn't tell Sokka, yeah, but there's a lot of other powerful benders. She just has this realization of, oh my gosh, he's been in front of me this whole time. After this episode, there is a major shift in the way Katara shows affection to Aang. This is not a moment of her just being like, well, I guess I have to marry him, that's the end. This is her realizing that she probably has feelings for him. Katang is not one-sided, part 2, Bato of the Water Tribe. Not a ton happens in this episode, except for this very important moment. This is the actual first time that we see Katara really show more affection to Aang than just hugging him or being protective over him. This is what I use whenever someone tries to tell me that she treats him like a brother. She ain't doing that to Sokka. And I also think it goes to show that the fortune teller episode is kind of a turning point for her because she doesn't start doing things like this until after that. This is physical affection, this is clear, this is not even nuanced. This is something that you do to someone that you probably have romantic feelings for. Especially in Katara's case, since we, like I said, obviously know that she does not do that with Sokka. I'm just kind of ranting now because I have more time regarding this episode, so sorry. But seriously, just look at them, they're so cute. Physical affection, not one-sided. Just saying. Katang is not one-sided, part 3, the Siege of the North. There isn't an exact moment that I can pinpoint in this episode, Other than the fact that Katara is just like incredibly protective and affectionate for Aang for this entire two-parter. I mean, she is just so intense about keeping him safe, and her fight with Zuko to keep him safe was just... she was going all out. And it was just like total tunnel vision once Zuko got him and she realized that Aang was gone. She didn't even like think about the fact that there was a literal like war happening at that moment. All she could think about was getting Aang. And it wasn't just like we have to get Aang because he's the Avatar. It was we have to get Aang because he means so much to me. And this hug was just so cute. I could go into more detail about why this episode, I feel like she is super affectionate and it's like romantic affection towards Aang, but I mean, this hug just says it all. Her protectiveness of Aang this episode was so cute! Kataang is not one-sided, part 4. The Avatar State. And I mean Book 2 premiere. This is an underrated episode, guys. We have all of these moments. First of all, Katara is trying to get Aang to stop trying to go into the Avatar State, and she literally says, "For the people who love you, it's really hard to see you in that much pain and anger." She literally says that she loves him. Case closed. But I'm not done. Then, when her life is literally in danger at the end, when she gets drowned in earth, when the guy brings her back up, the first thing she does is look up to Aang with worry in her face. She literally doesn't even care that she almost died, or she could have died, or that she could hardly breathe for however long she was down there. All she cared about was that Aang was in the Avatar State and how worried she was about him. Right, she doesn't have feelings for him at all. Kataang is not one-sided, part 5. The Cave of Two Lovers. Come on, guys. First of all, Katara initiates the kiss. It was her idea. Second of all, she gets super jealous when Aang says he doesn't want to kiss her. A clear sign that she actually really did want to kiss him and she has feelings for him, because you don't get jealous when someone's like, yeah, I don't want to kiss you, if you don't have feelings for them. Their hands were not intertwined before they kissed, but then look at how cute they are. And also, the whole story of Oma and Shu, their story parallels them almost exactly. A love divided by war, and the terrible display of bending when one of them dies. Obviously that hasn't happened yet, but it's definitely paralleled to what happens to them at the Book 2 finale, so we'll talk about that a little bit later. But this episode is just... I just love their hands. Oh, they're so cute. Kataang is not one-sided, part 6. Bitter work. Throughout this episode, Aang is learning earthbending and he is having a very hard time with it. At literally one point, he just tells Toph, sorry, I just don't think I can do this. And Katara is so comforting to him. She just takes him and is like, let's waterbend, I'll help you out. And then they proceed to work on waterbending where they're pushing and pulling just like Tui and Law. And she is just building him up so much, giving him so much confidence and helping him understand why he's having a hard time with it. She's just showing so much care and love towards Aang in this episode as he struggles through learning this element. And look at how scared she is when that rock is rolling towards him. And then when he figures it out, she is so proud of him. Sokka was probably about to say something very important, but when Aang interrupted him, she didn't even think about Sokka anymore. All she could care about was the fact that Aang figured it out. Seriously, through the whole episode, she's trying to explain to Toph what kind of teaching style Aang needs. She understands him. Katang is not one-sided, part 7. The desert. This episode is intense. So first of all, Appa is gone. And Aang is not happy. Seriously taking it out on everyone. And Aang is usually the happy-go-lucky one. And Katara is just so caring towards him once again. And then they find the sand benders and Aang goes into the Avatar state out of pure anger. Sokka and Toph run. But Katara just wants to see him okay. And let me tell you, if he made that face at me, I'd run. But she doesn't. She brings him back down to earth because she's the only one who can calm him down. She is just so sad for him, and she wants to help him. This moment is just so beautiful. I'm crying even thinking about it. Katang is not one-sided, part 8. The Serpent's Pass. So directly after the desert where we lose Appa and we had that incredibly powerful moment between Aang and Katara when Aang went into the Avatar state, this episode is kind of similar but also very different. Aang freaked himself out by going so crazy, so he chooses to not feel. And Katara is so worried about him throughout this entire episode. I don't have a cap for it, I can't find it anywhere, but at one point Katara is just so worried that she comes to him and she's like, you need to hurt and you need to miss Appa, that's all natural. And you need a hug, and he says no. And then when Hope is born, Aang gets Hope, and it's adorable. Aang then goes to Katara and tells her that it reminded him about how he feels about Appa and how he feels about her. And she is crying over this. She just loves him so much that when he opens up, she just can't help but get teary-eyed. And this moment is adorable. Kataang is Not One-Sided Part 9, The Earth King. So I originally wasn't going to add this book into my analysis because I didn't think it was actually canon, but after doing a little bit of research, I've seen a lot of sources say that it is canon. So here we go. This is from the Earth Kingdom Chronicles, The Tale of Katara, and just read it for yourself. Katara is literally thinking that Aang is about to tell her that he loves her, and she's excited about it. She doesn't brush it off. She even starts to realize that she has feelings for him too. I mean, it doesn't explicitly say it, but it's pretty obvious. She then gets interrupted by Sokka, and if you read on, she is very, very upset by this, and super annoyed, which leads me to believe that she wanted to hear what Aang had to say. And then, as they're leaving, we get another sweet kiss on the cheek. I've said it before and I'll say it again. She does not interact this way with anyone else on the show. This is not motherly, this is not sisterly, this is love. Kataang is Not One-Sided Part 10A. The Crossroads of Destiny. And this episode is crazy, so I already know there's going to be at least 2 parts to this episode, so yeah. This episode is used a lot for Zutara shippers. I'm not going to go into a ton of detail about Zuko and Katara in this episode, other than the fact that she's a healer. She was assessing the wound. This is not romantic, at all. And then Aang came in, and she literally ran to him without even a second thought. And also, they hugged twice, which was super freaking adorable. Katara literally barely even noticed Zuko was there at this point. She hated him like 5 minutes prior to that scene, so she did not want to make out with Zuko. And as soon as Aang showed up, she had tunnel vision for him. After this scene, we get into some important stuff. So stick around, I'm not done talking about this episode. Kataang is Not One-Sided Part 10. The Crossroads of Destiny Part B. I mean, come on. So in case you live under a rock, Aang dies in this episode. Azula literally shoots him with lightning to kill. And this is Katara's face as she watches him fall. I mean, sheer sadness and fear in her face right there. I've talked about this before, but Katara gathers herself and then rides a literal tidal wave to catch him before he hits the ground and he's officially gone. The sadness in her face as she looks at him lifeless is just heartbreaking. When they're on Appa and she's trying to save him with the healing, her eyes are just, again, she's just so terrified that she's lost him. And the face she makes when he stirs is like she's seen the sun for the first time. This episode is so much. Kataang is Not One-Sided Part 10. The Crossroads of Destiny Part C. I had a feeling it would take me more than 2 parts to get through this episode because this is very important. So there are just a lot of parallels between this scene and the story of Oma and Shu. And I think it's very important that in the Cave of Two Lovers, that whole episode was kind of revolving around Katara and Aang's relationship, and then we literally see it play out in the final. Katara displays some intense bending right here to try and catch him. Which is good because if he hit the ground, he definitely would not have been able to be healed at that point. Just everything about Katara's actions during this scene once Azula shoots Aang with lightning just screams that it's more than just watching the Avatar fall, it's watching someone she loves fall. Everything from her face when she watches it happen, to the way she catches him, to her sense of urgency as she's healing him. I could end the series right here and now, but I'm not. Kataang is Not One-Sided Part 11. We're going to quickly talk about the bridge. In case you don't know what this is, there is a series of comics called The Lost Adventures, and they follow Team Avatar during the events of the series. It covers stories that we just don't see on the show. And this one covers the time in between book 2 and 3 when Aang was unconscious. We learn how they capture the Fire Nation ship in this book, so if you want to see it, I think it is available online. Throughout this entire story, Katara is just constantly trying to heal Aang. She's actually starting to feel kind of unsure of herself because he's not waking up. And when they go to capture the ship, she doesn't even want to be a part of the invasion because she wants to still be with Aang. Toph has to persuade her into it. The whole book, she's just constantly mentioning how she wants to be healing Aang and how worried she is that he's not going to wake up and how little hope they have. It's actually a really sad story to see what Katara goes through during this, but I think it just shows that she had feelings for him. Katang is Not One-Sided, Part 12. The Awakening. Another pretty underrated episode in my opinion. First off, every Katang cute moment is actually initiated by Katara in this episode. After Aang wakes up, he is struggling. So first of all, right when he wakes up, I can't point at this, she just jumps on him with a hug. As you can see by all these pictures, she's just touching him the whole episode. She just spent like at least 3 weeks of him being unconscious and not knowing if he was going to live or die. And she's all over him now that he's awake. As soon as he shows that he's in pain, she heals him. She's really worried about the way he's acting. I think it's clear that she just really missed him and is beyond happy that he's awake. And this hug right here is so cute because after he runs away and she finds him, she literally like goes on her knees so hard and then just latches onto him. Katang is Not One-Sided, Part 13. Oh, the headband. First of all, the whole dance scene was just steamy. And this is the face that she makes when Aang is dancing with another girl. Jealous much? And it's written into the show very often when someone has feelings for someone that they blush. Look at the chemistry! God, I love them so much! And the episode ends off with yet another sweet kiss on the cheek. And I think you all know how I feel about when she kisses him on the cheek. This whole episode just is such a clear sign that Katara has major feelings for Aang. And how cute she is. Katang is Not One-Sided, Part 14. I'm putting 2 episodes together in this one because they're both pretty brief, but I still love them and I wanted to bring them up. So the first is The Painted Lady. This isn't really like a huge moment for Katara. It's more of an Aang thing, but their teamwork during this episode is just so freaking adorable. They just work so well together because they both understand the other so well. It's just, I love it so much. And in The Beach, which is focused more on Azula and Zuko and Ty Lee and May, we still get that fight between Combustion Man and Team Avatar, which is an underrated fight in my opinion with Aang and Combustion Man. Aang did some pretty amazing moves in that. But after he finishes fighting Combustion Man, Katara grabs onto him like this and I think it's so cute. Look at the way she's just grasping onto him, just so happy he's okay. Katang is Not One-Sided, Part 16. Nightmares and Daydreams. I'm starting to feel like a little bit of a broken record because there's so many Katang moments that are initiated by Katara, but I mean, I'm just gonna get through this whole series, so yay! In this episode, we see Aang clearly very, very stressed and having nightmares and choosing not to sleep until the invasion, and everyone's a little bit worried about him, but Katara's actions are just a little bit more. As always, she can't keep her hands off of him. Literally. Again, these are small moments, and these are completely based off of my speculation. It's not, like, verified that she was doing it because of her feelings, but it looked pretty obvious to me. Katara is so worried about Aang once again in this episode because he's just kind of going off the deep end. And she's the one who's always trying to bring him back. Katang is Not One-Sided, Part 16. The Day of Black Sun. I'm going to focus on 2 moments from this 2-part episode, so this might be a 2-parter. I haven't quite decided yet. We'll see. So obviously there's the moment of when Aang kisses Katara. Newsflash, if you watch it, Katara starts to kiss back. And she blushes as he flies away. And then proceeds to like stare off into the distance after he's long gone, not knowing what to do because she was just so like, ah. Also, this conversation right before it was simply freaking adorable. This was a total nervous around your crush energy from both of them, and it was adorable. Katara tells Aang that she's so proud of him and that he's no longer the goofy kid that she found in that iceberg, which makes this letter to Tenzin come full circle. Yes, in this letter she tells Tenzin that she started to fall in love with him when he became more mature. Kataang is not one-sided, part 16b. I kind of figured this would happen. This is another underrated moment. All of the soldiers are surrendering and Aang feels like it's his fault. Him being the Avatar, he tends to have the weight of everything on his shoulders, so when something goes wrong, he blames himself. Katara walks up to him and she doesn't say anything, she doesn't tell him it's gonna be okay, she doesn't try and make him do anything, she just places her hand on his back just to be there if he needs her. She just completely understands what's going on through his head in this moment. It's just so clear that she just knows him so well. These two are literally like, yin and yang. She is the one who calms him down and he begins his speech. It's just another really important moment that I think people forget about, but no one else would have acted that way around him in that moment. Katara's the only one who understood. Kataang is not one-sided, part 17, the Western Air Temple. Y'all know where I'm going with this. Katara threatens Zuko's life in this episode, and there is something oh so important about what she says to him. She says one slip-up, one reason to make her think that he is going to hurt Aang. She does not say, my friends. She does not say, me. She does not say, my family. She does not say, us. She says, Aang. She is literally threatening to kill someone over Aang's safety. If I had a mic, I would drop it. TV remote will do. There you have it, guys. Still not done yet, though. Kataang is not one-sided, part 18. I'm going to briefly touch on the Southern Raiders for a minute. This episode doesn't have a whole lot of Kataang in it, and I almost skipped over it, but I have some feelings on it, and these are 100% my opinion, so this is kind of a take it or leave it type thing. But here we see Aang pleading with Katara to not murder the man who killed her mom, which she ends up not killing him. I just feel like her choice to not kill him, Aang definitely had something to do with that. I think it shows that Katara respects and understands Aang's opinion so well that when it came down to it, when she faced the man who turned her life upside down, she could look him in the eye and not let all her anger out. This isn't proven that that's why she didn't kill him, but that's what I felt in my heart and thought I'd put it out there. Kataang is not one-sided, part 19. The Ember Island players. It's rough, but I think it makes sense. First of all, look at Katara and Zuko's faces when they see them becoming a couple in the show. They then back away from each other because they're so weirded out by it. This scene is a little complicated. Katara says that she's confused. And then Aang kisses her without consent, which is a whole nother can of worms, but we won't get into that. I don't think Katara's saying she's confused about her feelings for him. She's confused about the timing. Aang still has to fight the Fire Lord. Katara saying she's confused is most likely because Aang still could very easily be killed. If she were to start a relationship with him, she would give him her whole heart and no longer kind of keep a wall up like she has been. And she's genuinely scared that he might die, and if they start a relationship before that, she probably won't be able to come back from that. She still had feelings for him, that's why she was confused. Kataang is not one-sided, part 1 of Epilogue. You guys, we're on Sozin's comment, we're nearly at the end. First of all, if you have joined me for every single part of this analysis and listened to me just vent about how much I love Kataang, thank you. Believe it or not, Sozin's comment doesn't have a ton of Kataang moments, just the most important one. Their final kiss that started their relationship. Katara and Aang actually spend most of the 4-part episode apart, with Aang fighting the Fire Lord alone and Katara going with Zuko. I can't find the exact moment, but there is one part that I want to talk about briefly. And that is when Aang is freaking out about the fact that everyone is expecting him to kill the Fire Lord and he goes to meditate. Aang kind of gets really short with all of them and starts shouting at them because they all expect him to kill him and he doesn't want to do that. And Katara follows him. Zuko kept her from actually following him, but I think it just showed how much she cared about him because she was the only one who would follow him. Kataang's Not One-Sided Epilogue Part 2, The Final Kiss. After 3 seasons of will they or won't they seal their relationship with a kiss and begin a relationship. Couple important things to note about this, as it does kind of speak for itself. First of all, Katara's blushing beforehand was adorable. Again, showing signs that she truly did have feelings for Aang. She wasn't just deciding to be with him because he saved the world. Second of all, Katara initiated this kiss. I can't really show it in this, but she 100% initiated it. And then Aang kissed back because he was very happy. The end. A quick thank you to everyone who's watched this series. It's been super fun and I had no idea that it would get as much interaction as it did. I do want to say, if you ship Sutara, I'm not trying to tell you not to. I'm just explaining that it was not one-sided. Kataang is Not One-Sided Epilogue Part 3, because apparently I still have a few things to say. This relationship is not one-sided, as I hope I have shown all of the moments that Katara shows feelings for Aang. And yes, some of them are just my opinions, but I think the way the show is written, it's pretty obvious that it's because she had feelings for him. This storyline was so well written because it was never really the spotlight storyline. It was a secondary storyline that was very well written. It was nuanced throughout the entire show, and it was never feeling incredibly forced or like we all had to just ship it because that was it. Yes, they're kids, but that's one of the reasons why it was so complicated. Kids don't really know how to share their feelings. Aang is a little crazy and just has a crush on her most of the time, and Katara just doesn't really know how to handle feelings. I love these two so much, and I just love talking about them, so thank you so much for joining me. Stay tuned for more analysis